Hey everyone, it's BJ, and I'm joined here today by one of the founding members and the lead game designer of Boom Beach Frontlines, Adam. Hey
Hi.
Adam,
Hi.
could you go ahead and introduce yourself and kind of give everyone a history of your work at Space Ape and what is your current role on the Frontlines team?
Sure. My name is Adam Kramazewski, and I'm a lead game designer on Boom Beach Frontlines. I've been at SpaceSafe for over 5.5 years now, almost six, I think. And before that, I worked on Transformers Air Force, which some of you might recognize. And overall, I've been doing what I'm doing, which is game design for over the last 13 years, and having a blast doing that.
Nice, nice. So you've been working on this project since its inception, and I remember when you started on this project initially, it wasn't going to be Boom Beach Frontlines. Could you sort of tell us how that came to be and how Supercell fits in?
Sure. So when it really initially the game we codenamed Frontline Heroes, which is funny because the parallel to the current name is already there. That was a concept that I worked on with a very small team for quite some months, and then we from the very beginning we knew we wanted to bring like a fun, accessible brand to it. So we wanted to build a world that's really lighthearted and colorful and fun. And we already had a game that had a lot of the mechanics you can currently see, building and power ups and grand scale things. And so the essence of the game was there, and we made a really fun prototype. And we had an idea for now that Boom Beach would be the perfect fit. So we approached Supercell and we pitched the idea to them. We spoke to the current Boom Beach team, and they really liked the game that we made, and they were receptive to the idea, and they gave us thumbs up and said, yeah, sure, if you want a couple assets, if you want a tank to prototype with, go ahead, let's see what happens. And we've had a really great time working kind of with the Boom Beach team at Supercell, and making sure we respect and expand upon the brand that they built, because they made a great game, and we want to make a great game that kind of sits alongside it, and hopefully both of our products can succeed as a result.
Cool. So you kind of given us a little bit of an overview of how that came to be. Can you talk about like what is the essence of Boom Beach Frontlines? Like what can players expect when they hop into the game?
Sure. Like I think if you look at our FAQ, like we say that Boom Beach Frontlines is a fast-paced multiplayer action game with tactics and strategy at its core. And I think one of the most important aspects of making this kind of fun, accessible multiplayer game that is made for mobile first. And despite various comparisons, I don't think there's anything that plays exactly like this. It's fairly unique with how our game mode plays out, with the scale of it, the 9v9 aspect, and the power-ups and the vehicles. It all comes together, and the teamwork that emerges naturally. I think that's one of the most special aspects we have, where pairing up with a medic and kind of that synergy that appears just out of how the game is designed, and making sure that whenever you fit your role, you're actually benefiting your entire team. So these are some of the aspects that are making, I think, our game quite special. And there's a bit of sprinkling of chaos. There's quite a lot of things going on, and it's a game that's built to be fun, lighthearted, and not very stressful multiplayer game that you can pick up any time of the day.
Yeah, and it's quite fun watching players drop into the alpha and picking up the game. But when you look at the game, the controls are relatively simple. I mean, there's only two joysticks and then a target lock mechanic. Does that necessarily mean that the game is easy? And how can players learn to master the game?
Yeah, like one thing you'll learn as you start playing the game is that, yeah, absolutely, it is very accessible. Anyone can just pick it up and start shooting targets left and right. Uh, but that's because the game is not about reflexes and precision of control. It's much more cerebral. It's about strategy and tactics. And weirdly enough, it's actually much more comfortable to play because of how accessible the controls are. And there's no need to bash at the screen and having 20 buttons controlling everything. That's one of the things that from the very beginning I knew I wanted to try with the team to see how we can distill this kind of high impact, fast action game into something um, that's quite easy to maneuver and play, but it's still strategic and still very tactical.
Yeah, and then tactics are an interesting one, Adam. What do you mean by tactics, and how does somebody apply those in game?
Sure. So The tactics being like all these decisions that you make in game, these micro decisions that you have to often make in a split second and adjust to how the battle is developing. So these are all the various decisions. So such as who do you spawn as, what kind of class do you pick, and that's influenced by how far you're in the battle, what was the previous engagement you had. Did you just get blown up by a tank? Maybe you pick up a bazooka. So then when you spawn is where do you go, who do you follow, do you team up with someone, do you jump into a vehicle with people, yeah, do you pick up a power up? And then each individual firefight is having this enormous amount of questions that pop up in your head, like, okay, who do you engage, and when do you engage, and when do you run away? So again, the timing of it, the targeting, what targets do you pick, which are the high value targets, which are the targets you shouldn't be really fighting against, how do you manage your ammo, which can, you shouldn't run in with a heavy with an empty clip, because that's going to take 5 seconds to reload. Yeah, are you in the optimal distance to your target, depending on your and the enemy's accuracy? Are there any mortars and missiles that you have to dodge? And then again, even stuff like, if you're tough, should you be using your body to block the projectiles and the shots that are going towards your medics and towards your snipers in the back? And if you're squishy, can you hide behind a heavy? Can you hide behind a tank? And then again, how do you react to all the different power-ups and vehicles and the buildings that come into play? So there's a lot of things you have to worry about, as you can see. And if you had to manually adjust each and every shot, from our experience, playing this game for many months, you wouldn't be able to focus as much on the tactics and the team play. And we want you to do just that, to be able to control the game with ease, and then spend all your brain power and all your energy and all your skill on how do you approach the fight, and having that team play come through, and having the tactics be to your advantage, using cover, flanking enemies, stuff like that. So that's where the skill is. It's not here. It's all here.
Yeah, I've really noticed that with this game too, because I'm used to like kind of barging in there and just being the hero in the game, and I've kind of been toned back and adjusted to waiting for my team and using the power ups in the right moments, and finding these moments to where like we can gain an advantage on a certain building and make progress. And I think that's a big part of it, is when you're trying to win this, the conquest mode, as you know, is like working as a team. For
Yeah.
the conquest mode, can you kind of explain like what it entails and what players can expect when they're dropping into it?
Sure. So yeah, the main game mode we currently have is Conquest, which entails 2 teams of 9 trying to capture 2 control points. Should you successfully capture a control point, you can build defenses around it and protect it from the enemies. Now, if any team controls 2 control points at the same time, then after 10 seconds they will achieve an early victory. If they don't, then if no one has a control point, or we both have one control point at the end of the match, we enter into overtime, and then either the first team to capture a point, or to destroy an enemy point will be the winner. And it's also possible to reach a draw currently in the game,
I've seen a lot
which
of feedback on that. So,
which is less than ideal, because draws leave both teams a little like, especially if like you almost destroyed the enemy outpost, and yours is like 100% health, you protected it, and there's a draw screen. So this is something we definitely want to address in the following months, as we continue developing the game, because we will either have a tiebreaker of sorts, or introduce some rules that will make it less likely to occur. So yeah, that will be definitely a point that we will address in the future.
yeah, it's
With
really
that
good
mode.
it's really good when the games are decided. Another thing that we're seeing a lot coming out of Discord is we're seeing a lot of players having varying experience with troops and vehicles in the game. Can you kind of elaborate on that, and what is your take?
Yeah, it's great. It's great to see like strategy guides emerge, and also all these various points of feedback. Is like, sniper is OP. No, sniper is too weak. The tank is OP. The tank is too weak. When we see a breadth of opinions about each individual troop and vehicle, that's actually a really good sign for us, as we develop this game, because that means that there isn't an obvious and single true answer, and it all depends on how you use these tools. So for every kind of conflicted character, there is a story behind it. Are you using the sniper in a correct way? Are you actually trying to engage with someone who is designed to be a counter to you? If you're trying to fight assaults who know what they're doing with a sniper, you might have a hard time. At the same time, with a heavy, you can outgun an assault pretty easily in an open field or in cover. At the same time, the sniper is going to make your life very, very miserable because they can exploit the range and the speed and the lack of on your side. So yeah, all these things, tank being OP like it is until you encounter a boom cannon and it blows you to smithereens in a couple of shots. Um, so yeah, seeing the breadth of opinions is definitely good, because if they're all honing on one character, then they will definitely be correct. But if we have the polarized view, that means we are in a pretty good spot.
It's good to see the rock paper scissors effect going on. What is your current favorite little situation you can get in? Like, do you like using the heavy and the medic in a combo, or what do you
Yeah,
like
I
to
mean,
do?
heavy and the medic is a beautiful combination because they just work so well together. Especially with heavy being able to block, certain projectiles, and medics who know how to position themselves behind the heavy and using, cover. Even if the heavy is in the open, sometimes you might reach them with your medic gun while being in cover yourself, and that's incredibly satisfying. So is also picking off enemy Zukas with a sniper, because Zukas are such a dangerous unit when left alone to their devices and being able to blow up your buildings and
I've
vehicles.
also seen in the combination when they're in the 4x4 when the Zukas get
Yes,
inside there,
yeah.
and
If
it's
it's
really fun when you see them driving by and shooting the buildings.
yeah,
It's
we've got a little vehicle that mostly it can play music and RAM, and it was also great to see like people learn
discovering
how to
that,
use
right?
that. Yeah, and learn how to use that vehicle well, and buying it early and putting heavies on top of it, and then at the end of it, when you drive to a point, when that vehicle blows up, you still have two heavies that are just sitting there on the point. Incredibly tough. So yeah, the strategies that players stumble upon, and very often being the same strategies we develop as a team playing this game for months. This is really, really cool to see. It's very reassuring that we are on the same wavelength together with the community. So that's one of the highlights for me of these past playtests.
Yeah, it's fun seeing those patterns and trends reappear. In terms of the actual gameplay itself, though, like we've kind of spoken and done a nice little overview and everything. We've seen a lot of requests in Discord for like what kind of features they can have. I think the one popping up the most is a party feature. Like people want to be able to play with their friends. I think we've seen clans pop up. I think we've seen some different game modes people have been
Yeah,
suggesting. Can you kind of elaborate on like what players can expect to see in the future
sure.
and what kind of
I
features are
can
going to come?
I can absolutely spill the beans, with
Okay.
a big caveat that all of these things are subject to us having to develop them first and then test them and then see if they're any fun and then making sure that they make their way to you. So that's going to take some time, and we're talking many releases ahead. But we definitely want squads in the game because we first and foremost, this game is most fun when you have a team and you can play with friends. Expect probably like 3-man squads, so you have potentially three 3-man squads with in the game. As for clans, guilds, task
But not
forces,
3v3, right? It's going to
no,
be
it will be free.
9v9, yeah?
Yeah, 9v9, but you could have potentially 3 different squads inside that one 9v9 game um, on your team, right? And then, as for clans and guilds and task forces, however we name them, we don't know. We definitely want that as well. We want to, the games we make and the games that Supercell makes, they're all about kind of social interactions and building communities. So we absolutely want to give that opportunity to players. Um, People also ask for trophies or medals or some sort of competition or leaderboards. This is definitely something we want to add to the game as well. Again, I don't have the timeline for you, sorry, but it will 90% chance make it into the game because yeah, we want that. There might be some sort of battle pass in the future. We'll see how that goes. Um, there might be different biomes, but that's probably going to take us quite some time. And I think last but not least, some sort of special events or new game modes. We definitely want to develop. The current game mode Conquest is not the only game mode we ever had in the game. We had different ones in the past. This is the best one by far that we've tried, and we were sticking with it for now. But there is space in the future to
I,
add more and develop.
I remember when you guys were going over all the different iterations of game modes. There was a lot of exploring it took, but I think
Yeah, absolutely. And some of them require a very high level of coordination. And one that we had for quite some time, a long time, was what we called attack defense, and you would either be attacking with vehicles and power-ups or defending with the buildings and bases, and you'd be retreating to different points as the enemies push through. And it was a very fun game mode, but it was very hard for to welcome players
It was
into
a bit
onboard people.
stressful. It was everything was going on at the same time. I remember trying it out
Yeah,
for a
and
bit.
it just requires quite a lot of coordination on the attacker's side to make sure that you push together, because it was quite hard to break through all the defenses. And it was, yeah, there were some incredibly kind of high highs, like the best moments in the game were there, but they required quite a lot of coordination. So this is something that would make more sense when the game is a bit more mature and when people are more used to playing together, and something that more veteran players will interact with rather than people who just got into the game. For that, Conquest is absolutely the most kind of reliable and fun place to put people in. So yeah, absolutely want to explore that side, but that is the future of the game that we hope to see one day.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Thanks for giving us an oversight on all that, Adam. And make sure you guys also give your suggestions in the Discord on game modes you'd like to see. If there's any features Adam didn't mention here that we may be adding to the game, please,
Yeah.
because the more we see them, the more likely we would be.
Absolutely, and of course, there is going to be more content. There is some stuff in there already that's hidden away, some really fun units and power-ups and buildings. Some which you will remember from original Boom Beach, some of which we have, brand new. I hope that one day the original Boom Beach team will adopt some of our units and buildings as well. The door is open. I hope they do that. Although they have a breadth of really wonderful stuff to pick in there as well. So there's of course more content coming and probably more maps as well. Why not? As long as they're fun to play and different, we will add them.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, Adam. It's very good to talk to you. And sometimes you can catch Adam in the Discord himself. So if you guys ever want to shoot him a ping, yeah, you can. And
Maybe not in the middle of the night.
yes, please not in the middle of the
Yes.
night. But yeah, he'll
I,
drop in there sometimes and
yeah,
say
I,
hello
I
to you
do
guys.
lurk. I do lurk in Discord a lot. Sometimes I answer questions. I try not to do that too much because we have a fantastic community support and a customer support team that is, handling our Discord channels. But I do read feedback firsthand as well and watch your videos, and it's been incredibly reassuring and incredibly satisfying to see the community grow so quickly and people becoming so passionate about the game and discovering and learning new things and creating guides for one another and giving each other tips.
It's popping up all over Reddit. We've seen the little subreddits popping up.
Yeah, I've
It's
seen the
very fun
subreddits.
to watch.
I've seen some of the memes. Yeah, it's an incredibly rewarding part. I think that's one of the most rewarding parts of my job, is to spend so long working and
It's
so
been your
hard on
baby. Yeah, I
something.
know you've been working on it for a long time, so it's
Yeah,
very good
the
to see it
entire
come up.
team is incredibly proud of what we put forward, and to see our kind of hopes reassured and validated has been amazing. So we are super excited to keep working on this, and we hope that we can keep on this trajectory. Sky's the limit.
Let's do it, Adam. Thanks for joining us today, and we want to wish you all a very happy holidays to everyone, and stay safe. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the new year. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Adam.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye, everyone.